What happens when someone realizes that they don't truly own anything? Not their home, not their kids, not their partner, and what's worse is they have no control over it. This finale asks, what kind of person do you become when you stop pretending that you had control in the first place? This Your Friends and Neighbors finale had a lot going on. Answers about the murder mystery, but more importantly, exploring themes of control, of ownership, possession, and what happens when that illusion shatters. So let's get into it.
It was a sad state of affairs when getting caught in your dreams was actually some kind of relief.
So right at the beginning, we're talking about this theme of control right here. The reason why that dream brought relief to him, the dream of being caught, is that because he'd no longer be in limbo. He's in control of this situation. He'll know what to be able to do. It's that limbo where you feel completely out of control that causes all of that anxiety and uncertainty. And he wants to be rid of that. Now, what's really interesting in this episode when it comes to control is typically when you lose control of something, you can either sulk about it or you can do anything in your power to try and get it back. So what happens with Coop here is when he loses everything, he now feels like he has nothing to lose and he could just do whatever he wants, because what's the point? He already lost everything.
You were arrested for murder.
I didn't kill anyone.
How do I know that?
Gosh, I guess you're right, Letty. There's really no way of knowing. But if there's even the slightest chance that a cold-blooded killer you think I am really want to be fucking with me right now, I'm gonna finish my bucket.
And we see him do a similar threat like this at the end of the episode too.
There's nothing worse than someone who doesn't know what they don't know, and you don't know shit. So you have all the colleges in America to choose from, but she's not going to Princeton.
Are you threatening me?
Goddamn right I am.
And so obviously throughout this season, there's this feeling that he's trapped. You know, the first episode starts with him feeling trapped in lifestyle creep, where no matter how much money he makes, he always feels like he doesn't have enough, that he's basically broke, you know, every step of him climbing the corporate ladder because he has to spend more money and more money and more money to maintain his lifestyle, right? And so with him losing everything and getting framed and going to jail and losing everything, there was a freedom that came with that, a freedom of, hey, I don't own any of this stuff, right? And they always say that the most dangerous man is a man that has nothing to lose. And I feel like that's what you see here. Like, he doesn't care what he does because he already feels like he hit rock bottom, which he never really actually did hit rock bottom. This is still a man of extreme privilege, which we're going to talk about at the end of this episode with what he chooses to do moving forward. But this theme of control goes way past Coop, right? It also extends into Mel's character, not just in this episode, but we're focusing on this one right now. So in this scene right here, Mel's kind of grilling Barney for information on Coop. You can tell she has an idea that he thinks he's, you know, gonna go to jail. She's trying to figure it out. And she's trying to do everything in her power, in her control, to make that not happen. And the only thing that she ends up being able to do is pleading with him.
You want Tori and Hunter to visit you in prison? You want them to be known as the kids whose dad went away for murder? Because that will destroy them.
You think I don't know that?
Well, then do something
I'm
about
trying!
it. Try harder, you selfish fuck!
Mind you, that was one of the best scenes of the whole entire show. That scene was amazing. Drop a like if you also think that was one of the best scenes this whole season. But what Mel tells Coop right here is so important. She says that there was a moment in their relationship where Coop should have fought harder and maybe the relationship could have been saved, right? And this is another moment like that where in a moment where he should fight harder, he's lying down, not doing enough, right? And she's like, don't do that again. And she got through to him because he definitely started fighting harder after this conversation. But what Barney said earlier is also important.
I'm trying to help him.
I think that ship has sailed, hasn't it? We both have to accept that the only person who can help Coop right now is Coop.
AKA giving up that control, right? Thinking that they can do things to control Coop. They can't, right? Even with that speech that Mel gave that did end up having an effect on him, at the end of the day, it's still on Coop to act and to do things. And Mel just has to be okay with whatever he decides to do at the end of the day, because she just doesn't have that control. Even this conversation at the table, his sister brings up a topic that he doesn't want to talk about, that he doesn't want the kids a part of. But he has to let go of this idea that he can control things around him. He can't control the people around him. He can't control the discussions that are going on. He can't control his sister. He has to have faith and trust in her. Even in this scene, he's pleading with her to take her medicine, right? Because he knows that if he goes away, that the kids are going to need her. But he can't make that choice for her. She has to make that choice for herself, and he has to trust that she's going to do it. And Allie, even she in this episode had to let go of what's been haunting her the whole season, which was Bruce. And she does that with some nice spray paint. Then we also see another angle of letting go and what that means. Sometimes letting go doesn't mean getting rid of something. Sometimes it means passing something on so it can continue, which we get here in this scene when he gives his son his watch and he passes it on. He lets go of his own material possession and memory and shares it with his son so it can keep on going. On the flip side, the way his daughter reacts is she wants to go back to how things were. She has this calling of being separated from her dad, like this whole entire show, to wanting to be close again and wanting to hold on and not let go. She goes from not wanting to talk about him to going to jail right here. But then in this next scene, we see what happens, where she goes and lays on him and just cries because talking about it wouldn't have been enough. She needed more than that. She needed, sometimes words just don't do justice. Sometimes you just need that closeness, that togetherness, that love. And what's really interesting is with everyone coming together in this episode and with all that love, what's really interesting is Coop never actually fully opens up in this season and tells the people around him what he was actually doing as far as stealing stuff. He never tells his lawyer, never tells Mel, never tells his kids, his sister, Barney, nobody. I thought that was going to happen this season, but I guess they're saving that for later seasons. But that was really interesting to me. I thought in this moment, especially right here, after Mel told him to do something, right? I thought he was going to like lay it all out for his lawyer so they can come up with a plan. But he stumbles upon Sam's phone history here and they find out she has a burner. But I was really surprised the truth never came out. Were you surprised Coop just never told the truth to anybody? Y'all let me know. Drop that in the comments. Because I thought that was a guarantee this season. By the way, if you like breakdowns like this, I drop videos like this every week. So go ahead and hit subscribe and like so they show up on your feed. And even though he found those phone records, right? Once again, this is a case of not having control. Like he's so confused that the cops aren't going to do what they're supposed to do. And once again, he just has no control in this situation. It's another time where he felt like he had it all figured out and it didn't go his way. So I was wondering where Elena's character was going this season after paying off her brother's debt. We find out that it was her that stole from Coop. But the big moment for her is once again due to the fact that she's a maid and she has it in with everyone. She allows Coop to be able to get into Sam's house, which is, you know, her major role in this finale. But staying on Elena real quick, I'm surprised with how the show ends when Coop goes and robs his boss. Elena's not with him. Take notice of that. She's not with him. So I don't know if he's now thieving on his own or she just didn't want to do that job or what, but I thought that was kind of interesting. And so here's my theory, which we'll have to come back to in season 2. I think Elena's still going to be thieving with Coop, but I think Barney's going to join in. I think Barney's going to join in on them stealing stuff. That's my theory for season 2. So right when Coop hits rock bottom, Elena finds the suicide note, Paul's suicide note in the drawer. And it's like, all right, Coop's innocent. Then when Coop confronts Sam, we get this montage of her whole backstory and how everything played out with her and Paul's relationship. And once again, her story is one of not wanting to lose the status that she has in life, her privilege, right? Funny enough, she is exactly like the girl that Paul cheated on her with as far as like the waitress. Like that was her whole story. Like she was just with him to have money, right? And, you know, she slapped Mel in the face for it at the store, but Mel was right. She just wanted that money. She just wanted that status. And she was putting up with everything bad about Paul just because she had safety and security, right? Which that pressure of not having safety and security, that hits all of us, right? Like that is the underlying pressure of this whole show is that, right? The fear of losing the safety and security that money brings to you, right? That's the major pressure that all the characters are facing, which is very relatable because it's something we all face under the system of capitalism that we live under. But it was hilarious that she saw this man blow his brains out on FaceTime, and the first thing she thought was about the life insurance. That's wild. And it actually goes back to what I said in a previous video I made, where the video I made was about how in this show, people don't care about people, they care about wealth. And that's it. Like everybody else is just, you know, disposable, right? And we see that here. Her first thought is wealth. Second thought was about Paul. You know what I'm saying? Like and that's just how this show goes. By the way, if you want to watch my videos like this ad free and get other exclusive videos and early access to some videos, go ahead and join our community, The Real Few. You get some awesome benefits and you get to talk with other people that are just as into shows and movies as you are. What's interesting is after Coop knows he now has evidence that he's innocent, right? And he's going to be okay. He all of a sudden develops a God complex at the end of this episode. And to me, it starts right here. This man has a gun in his face and he knows she's not a killer like he just said. But this is the beginning of him feeling like he's invincible. He goes from doing that to then setting up his boss to screw him over and not caring about that, to going back to a life of crime, even though he had a job that was going to make him millions. He decides to go do something reckless and dangerous because he just doesn't want to be in the rat race anymore. And this is the ultimate privilege right here that I was talking about. But really what that ending represents to me is that throughout this whole episode, even before, yes, he's not in jail, but he always felt trapped from the very first episode. In the trap was that corporate ladder, that rat race, that climb that was going nowhere, right? And so the real freedom he gained wasn't not going to prison. It was getting out of that rat race. And he sees more freedom in being a thief than being in that corporate world, which, yes, ridiculous amount of privilege with saying that right there, right? But I think that's the character arc of this show, of going from trapped with all the money and the business and all that to feeling free. And that freedom also comes with payback of stealing from everyone that's involved in that rat race. And then even with his relationships, he also feels free from all of that. He felt very trapped in his family situation. And then we hear this.
Either way, I think I'm gonna fly solo for a while.
Huh, you and me both.
And in that moment, he's now free of that attachment and the thinking of that his family is a possession to him, that it's his family, that it's his ex-wife. And he's free from that line of thinking now. And so now he truly no longer has anything to lose because he doesn't see anything as his, which is just completely summarized by this line of dialogue at the end of the show.
This is my fucking company. It's not yours if you can't keep it.
And that is the lesson that he learned throughout this season. It's not yours if you can't keep it, and you can't really keep anything. So what is yours? Guess that's the question we can all ponder. Appreciate y'all watching. Once again, if you like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe so more liking can show up on your feed. I really enjoyed watching this season of Your Friends and Neighbors with you all. Thank you for watching these videos. I make videos about other shows as well if you want to check those out. But if you're just here for Your Friends and Neighbors, I'll see y'all next season.